Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys today? I'm so glad you're here watching me. I am making this adorable squirrel card with the Nuts About Squirrel stamp set. Last year in our mini catalog, which is where this squirrel stamp set comes from, it's on the mini catalog July to December 2021, and it's located on page 49. This is an adorable, cute stamp set with these cute little squirrels. And last year, in our mini catalog, we had this awesome stamp set called Love of Leaves. I absolutely adored it, and I used it over and over again. My favorite part about it was this great die set, and I thought it went perfect with this. This is a $17 stamp set here. And so if you already have the Love of Leaves stamp set, this works really well to add it, to just give it a little extra dimension, right? So we're gonna use this leaf right here, and it's from this die that matches this bundle. And so you can still purchase this. It's available still in the catalog. It's in the annual catalog, and they're on separate parts of the catalog. The dies are sold separate than the stamp set. It's no longer sold in a bundle, but let me grab the page for that so that I can help you with the purchase of that if you're interested. It is on page 115, and it's $18 for the stamp set, and then the dies are on page 165. The dies are my favorite part. Here they are at the bottom. Hopefully you can see them. Right there. There they are. They're $35. You get 13 dies, and they're really beautiful. You're going to get to see it in action because I'm going to cut this big leaf for you today. So let's just get started with that right away. So let me pull that out. One thing about these dies that are super cool is that there are two pieces. So you can see that's the intersection with the veining, and then this is the leaf itself. They nest within each other, and you can cut them at the same time or separately. I like to cut them together most often, and so I use some purple tape to attach them together so that when I run them through my machine, they're exactly in the placement that I want them, and that I get this beautiful veining just like this. So let me move all of this stuff out of the way and we can get started. That's the first thing that we'll do, is we'll go ahead and cut that piece out. So let me grab my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to open that up. We need plate number 1. Here it is. It's our main platform. And then we're going to put plate number 2, which is the one that gets cut into. So that's going to go next. We have a piece of soft suede cardstock, and here is my leaf, and it's going to go right over the top of it, just like that. I'm just going to position it so that it'll fit on there nicely. And then we're going to place our next piece over the top, and we're going to go ahead and push that through. And wait until you see how this cuts out. You're gonna just love it. Okay, let's move our guy out of the way. This is such a cute little machine. I love this machine. Okay, let's bring the star of the show out. Put these guys out of the way for right now. Look at this. Wait until you see this, okay? So it cut this leaf out, right? It's right here. And look at the veining and how beautiful that is. It's so pretty. But wait, there's more. The piece that I used to cut it out has this awesome stitching around it. So you can use this piece as well and place it on a card, and it would be so cool with another color sticking out behind it. If we have time at the end, I'll try and show you some samples of things that I've done in the past with this stamp set because it's so awesome. So you get the leaf, but you also get this dotted outline, so you can't let that go to waste. So I have found so many different ways to use both pieces. So let's go ahead and get started today. I have that part of the card ready, and we will go ahead and make our card. So the piece, the color of yellow that I used is So Saffron, and I'm going to grab that piece out. I've cut it in this manner so that it's the longer direction. I don't know what I got on there, maybe some glue or I don't know, ink. Let's see if I can get it off. Well, I guess that's going to be the back of my card because I don't know what that is. So let's go ahead and put that there. We're going to use our bone folder to help us crease our card. And this is going to be the front of our card. This little leaf is going to go here. We're going to have to cut this. And we're also putting this really cool piece inside, just like this, of this designer series paper. It's from our Subtles assorted pack of designer series paper. So if you're interested, that's the one that I use, the Subtles, because this So Saffron comes from the Subtles, and this is the So Saffron piece. For right now, I'm going to put these guys aside, and we're going to do some stamping right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top of my card, and I'm going to grab the Bumblebee, because I really like that color with saffron. And I'm going to use this Bumblebee ink, and I'm just going to start stamping this leaf in all different directions onto my card, just like so. And as you can see, I'm also getting it off the edge because then it does not look like these leaves are just floating in the middle of this card, and the eye won't be just drawn to the center, it'll be drawn all over our card. So as you can see, I'm just turning my stamp and inking it up and moving it around like so to get this really cute background. And I just want it to look exactly like what I said, falling leaves. Let's put another one in this corner. I think I should be far enough down now because I'm going to trim some of this off so we don't need all of it. Let's go ahead and clean that. And then we're going to come back in with our Early Espresso ink and do the veining on the leaves. So here is that stamp. Okay, so for the veining, I'm going to bring this down a little farther so that I can see a little bit easier. I'm going to line this up because there's a stem and the vein down the center. And I'm just going to turn my stamp. This one's a little bit more time consuming to do because you're obviously trying to line something up, but it's still not that time consuming that we can't do this to make such a cute background, right? So I'm just turning my card as I go and filling in all these leaf pieces. Have the scrap paper here so that if I have to go off the card, it doesn't go on my surface, my pretty wood grain surface, but onto the scrap paper. And you can see it's very forgiving. It doesn't have to be in the perfect spot every time. A few more to go, guys. Two more. These are probably going to get cut off, but it's okay. I just want to make sure that I'm covered. All right, so there is my background. Let's go ahead and clean this. I'll be using this brown again, but for right now, I'm going to close it and clean my stamp. I got a little happy pressing that in, but it cleans off the block just as easily with the same tool, just like that. All right, time for the squirrel. He's the exciting part. He's so cute. I'm just gonna set this off to the side with these pieces and we're gonna work on this little squirrel next, okay? So we're gonna grab this piece here of basic white cardstock and we're gonna use our Memento ink for the black and we're gonna do the outline first. I know that sounds a little bit strange, but we're gonna do that first. So we're gonna go ahead and get this right here. I want to be able to see what I'm doing. And stamp him down, just like that. Now we're going to do the inside of him. This is the gray part. Let's clean the outline stamp. All right, now comes our Smoky Slate. It's such a pretty color of gray. I really love it. So let me stand up here and make sure I get right over the top of him. That's what I love about these clear stamps. They're so easy to line up because you can see through them, and it doesn't have to be super perfect, right guys? Like whatever happens, happens, and it's okay. That's why it's art, right? So there he is. Isn't he adorable? Now you can see on my sample, he has a lighter gray on his tail, and we're gonna achieve that by using our Stampin' Blend in the Smoky Slate color. And I'm gonna use the light. The Stampin' Blends come in a 2-pack, and you get a dark and a light. And I'm gonna use the light one so that we have some contrast. And we are going to color in his face, his ears, his tail, any spots that I might have missed with the ink. We'll fill those in. And let's get his belly. I mean, you can leave part of him white if you want to. It's up to you. It's your choice. It's your squirrel, right? But I am gonna actually color in his acorn next. This is the dark soft suede, so I'm going to use it for the cap of the acorn. And these Stampin' Blends look dark when you color them, but they lighten as they soak into the cardstock, so they'll get lighter. So there's the cap, and this is the light soft suede, so we use the light and the dark on the acorn, and that shows you the difference in the light and dark of each color. And then these lines right here, I'm gonna go over those because the artist kind of shows a shadow there, and of course there would be a shadow underneath the acorn cap, so I'm gonna put a little bit there. So there he is. Let's go ahead and fussy cut him out. There's no die for this stamp set, but it's okay because he's fairly easy to cut. We're just gonna work our way around like so. I'm moving my paper and not my scissor. I know it looks like I'm moving my scissor, but I only move it when I get to the end of the blade and I have no choice. So I have to slide it up, right? But I'm using my left hand and I'm pivoting it as I go around my images and making sure that I am getting all the way around this cute squirrel. We're almost done. Go around his whiskers and his ears. I'm going to dip just a tiny bit in between them so that they're defined. Oops. My scissor slid a little bit on me there. It's okay, it worked out. And we're going to go around his cute little nose and his whiskers on the other side, around his acorn, and we're almost back to where we started. See, it doesn't take too long. And if you don't like to fussy cut, the more you fussy cut, the better you will get at it, and eventually you'll start to like it. I personally like to cut out, so it doesn't bother me at all. I can sit in front of the TV and cut a bunch of things. There he is, super cute, right? Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and figure out where we're going to cut this piece of cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and put it inside and line it up like this. And then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to slide this card open a little bit. And I'm going to put a mark right here on my card. That shows me where the end of my piece is. So I don't want to go that high when I do the slicing. So I'm gonna use that part on the trimmer. So let me pull my trimmer out. Here it is. Hopefully you can see it pretty good. I'm hoping I'm gonna get it in camera. Now we're gonna open our card, and this is the highest part. So I want to make sure that this line, it's not directly on here, but it's above it, which means that that paper is gonna show. Then I wanna have a little bit on the bottom. I want it to be kind of angled, but not too much. I mean, I need to fit this word in here, so I wanna make sure I have enough room for that, but I do want an angle cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and move that down. That looks pretty good to me. And this first blade here is our scoring blade. So let's move that out of the way. And this darker blade is the cutting blade. So I'm just gonna slide it across. And there is the angle cut. There is my pencil mark. So I can go ahead and erase that now. And let's move our cutting blade out of the way. I mean, our paper trimmer. Out of the way. I will put that away in its rightful place here. Perfect. All right. So now we can attach this piece of cardstock inside. I'm going to use our Stampin' Seal to do that. It's a very sticky adhesive that we sell, and I love it. It really helps hold my papers down, and see how sticky it is. It sticks to my finger and I can't even get it off unless I pull it. So let's go ahead and attach that down. I do trim it just a slight hair bigger than the card because I never want it to be too short. So I will check it. Ooh, pretty good. But there is a slight hair length there. It's very slight. I mean, I probably could have left it alone and no one would have known, but that's gonna go on the inside just like that. See how the paper shows now? Let me grab my bone folder again and give it a nice little squash there. Okay, so see, if we had gone too high, you would have seen the yellow on the inside without the pattern. That's why I marked that so that it would be right there. So now comes the fun part, right? We're gonna go ahead and attach our squirrel and our leaf onto our card. So to figure out where I want, I'm going to go ahead and place my leaf up on here, and that looks about good. I want this line here kind of to follow that line here, and then this one, I want this point to be near this edge. So I want to put dimensionals on this top part of my card, and I don't want it to go beyond that little section. So I'm going to use smaller Stampin' dimensionals. So let me grab those out, and here they are. We're gonna put one there, and see they fall right below that stitched line. The really cool thing is that you get to see it over the top. And let me make sure which other leaf is it. It's this one. So this one also needs them, and I have to make sure that they're above that little stitched line there. Okay, so we'll put two on that one. We're also, whoops, that backing came off on me. Sometimes that happens with these small ones. I'm gonna put one here in the middle. And then of course, this leaf is completely covered, so we can put a couple on this one as well. That one's all the way up top. So that's pretty good right there. So let's start pulling the backs off. Well, I like to use something called a take your pick tool. It has a putty end on this side, and this side has this sharp end. It also has a spatula, and there's a brush tool that you can attach to it. It's really a versatile tool, so you have to check that out. So we're going to pull the backs off of these. I like to grab them with this tool because they all stay together and I can throw them away. They don't end up all over my craft room floor. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and lay it onto my card. And make sure that that seam is there, that seam is there, that this follows the whole line of my card, just like I wanted it to. And I'm going to press that down just like that. When I open it up, you don't see any of those dimensionals down there, which is awesome. So that's what we want when we open our card. Now comes our little squirrel, and he's gonna sit right up on here. Isn't he cute? Oh, I love him. So the parts of him that are on the leaf don't need to have those dimensionals, but any parts of him that fall on this card, we don't want them to be lower than his body. So we're gonna go ahead and put some small dimensionals. We're gonna put some on his head, right there, on the tip of his bushy tail, because that's not on the leaf. And we can probably go equal with the head right there. So let's put another one and one more down here. And then let's check what other parts of him. So as I sit him here, you can kind of see, that's good. I think he needs one right here where this tail meets, because there's an indentation of the leaf right here. And so we're gonna put one there. I'm actually gonna put it on the card. Then pull the back off. I'm going to put another one right here on the card because he's going to cover that. And then we won't, for sure we know that he needs lift in that section because there's no leaf there, right? So let's go ahead and pull the backs off of these. And on the rest of him, we're going to put some wet glue because he needs to stick at the bottom. And we're just going to put some of this glue down here to help him hold on to the leaf. So let's go ahead and flip him over. And we're going to position him. He looks pretty good there. Make sure that he sticks to the ones that I put onto my card and that the other pieces are right there. The last part, the finishing touch, is getting ready to happen, and we're going to stamp the Nuts About You sentiment, and that's going to go in the Early Espresso ink. And we're going to stamp that directly on this designer series paper. It's a pale color and it will take it no problem. So let's go ahead and add that. There we go. Clean my stamp. And there is our finished card. I think it's such a cute card. I love the sentiment. I love these leaves all over, and this leaf is just the perfect touch. Let me look at my time and see if I have time to show you some cards that I did with the love of leaves. I do. But a couple minutes we can go. Let me grab those real quick and I can show you some other cards that I made using this beautiful Love of Leaves bundle. So this card that we made today is with the Nuts About Squirrel stamp set. So that obviously is our main focal point, right? But this additional set of Love of Leaves is the perfect cards, makes the perfect cards. Here's one here where I cut a piece of cardstock and I used that stitching that's left over when you cut your leaf out. So I cut this leaf out and I removed it. I cut another one out of a different color and I popped this designer series paper behind it. This one here, I used the veining from my background, so I used just the insides of these leaves and did the veining, and I popped another designer series paper behind it. This one I used, and I cut one out of a designer series paper and the others out of cardstock to go with this designer series paper right here. Here I stamped them, and instead of cutting them out, I just used the veining on the leaves. On this one, I took the piece that was left over like this, and I trimmed around it. And when I trimmed around it, I went ahead and attached it onto the card so you had the outline. This piece that you see back here with the lines is this solid piece. When you place it on your card, it gives you that stitching. It's such a beautiful piece. And on this one, I went ahead and used this pumpkin pie color and I cut all my leaves out. See how they are? Just ran them through the die cut machine. And then I stamped inside after I had glued it down. And then I attached the veining and did the veining on there. Didn't that turn out so pretty? So those are the cards that I made with that stamp set. I hope that you'll like it and that it's something that you're interested in. You can catch that on my blog if you go to Shop With Me. So you go to inkyhandswarmhearts.com. There's a drop-down menu. It says Shop With Me, and that's where you can go to my store and purchase these. You'll select me as your demonstrator and you can get started shopping. I really appreciate anyone who shops with me. It really helps me bring you the content that we have here. These stamp sets are adorable, and I hope that you enjoyed this card, that you can see that the Love of Leaves stamp set complements really well with this Nuts About Squirrels. And I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. For those of you who have found me, you might know I'm new to YouTube, so just please help me out by commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and ask your friends to subscribe too. When you subscribe, you'll get notifications of when I will post new videos, and you'll get to check out my blog. I'm going to put the link in the description below. When you go there, you can access PDFs and measurements and more fun projects. Thank you again. Happy stamping. This is Kelly with Inky Hands, Warm Hearts.